Welcome back to the Hood Needs Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 86. I got my dogs with me here, MFB
Yes, sir.
and BBTB.
You're
This is week 8 waivers, here to help you guys win your next week. You guys are screwed if you guys need any players. Let's actually. There's some good news. There's some
Actually, for the
decent news.
QBs,
No,
it's not bad.
I looked at QBs and said, you know what? Never mind.
I need a QB.
It doesn't look too bad. Well, we got one for you here. Jackson Dart rostered only 42% of leagues. I think it's because he had a good game and then he just didn't have a good game and a bad one, and then
No. He's had amazing game. Not amazing. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been averaging a lot for sure.
Yeah, no, he had a great game versus Eagles.
He was in our week 7 waiver episode, rostered 32%. Now he's rostered 42%. So he's for sure gaining popularity, and he's looking good.
100%. This guy's a stud, right? Like, if you had the balls to start him against Denver, it paid off because he almost got the 31.
If you had
he's
no
going
option.
back to Philly, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what happens, right? Maybe did they game plan against him?
Wait, it's back to Philly again?
It's back to Philly, boy. At Philly, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This would be a very
crazy
interesting game. Let me ask you this, do you start him? If you have, let's actually talk about the next player on the list. Joe Flacco, rostered in 5% of leagues. Do you start, Jackson Dart against the Eagles in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I would do it. Over who, though?
Flacco. Playing against the Jets. I think Sauce Gardner's injured. He left the game on Sunday with an injury. I don't know the extent of the injury.
I'd go Jackson Dart over Flacco, but I feel like it's very close.
Okay. Joe Flacco rostered in 5% of leagues. It's not going to, if you're using Fab, you don't have to spend a lot of Fab on him. Even if you don't need a quarterback, you could just pick him up and he could be a trade piece because their schedule upcoming is so nice. They got Jets, which have been able to be thrown on. They have a pretty good defense, so we'll see how that turns out. But then they get Chicago, then they get the bye, then Pittsburgh, New England, Baltimore week 13, and then Baltimore again week 15. So, I mean, he has a good schedule, and Jamar Chase, we saw what he can do when he hyper targets him. T. Higgins looks good.
I think rest of season, if I'm locking in with this guy, I'd probably go Dart.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. But I'm saying Flacco's way more widely available. I mean, Jackson Dart is basically almost
Flacco's
50%
for sure fine. I have more trust with Flacco than starting Stroud,
Tua,
Kyler, Bryce Young, whatever. I would roll Flacco.
When's Flacco's bye week? God damn it. He's the same bye week as Patrick Mahomes. Never mind. I was going to think that's it for the QBs. Not really much else out there that's really worth picking up. Or at least talk about for this week. Let's move on to the wide receivers. At the top, I put Xavier Legette in here because he had himself a game, 6% rostered. He did his thing in that game this weekend. So I think it's his best game of his NFL career.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Against the Jets. He had 11 targets, 9 receptions, 92 yards, and a touchdown. I believe most of this was with Andy Dalton, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I don't know. He's had a decent week. He had a decent week against Miami. He had a touchdown. Didn't do much against Dallas, but who knows? He may be worth a stash. Maybe he has himself better games throughout the year. Next on the list, we got 2 guys here, both from the Bucks. We talked about on the last episode, Mike Evans out for the season, or probably out for the most of the fantasy season at least. Broken collarbone. 2 names here: Tez Johnson, 16% rostered. Sterling Shepard, 15% rostered. Is there one that you guys like over the other, or do you guys just dart throws?
I like Sterling a little bit more, just because the only reason why is just He's a bigger name technically over Tez.
Okay.
Only reason why.
Yeah. I'd probably go with Sterling too.
Okay.
Mainly because I think for 2 receiver sets, it'll be Sterling out there and a Mecca.
Yeah.
But if they run 3 receiver and they use a slot, then it's usually Tez in the slot.
And then remember, Godwin should be back, I think, in 2 to 3 weeks.
Godwin's dealing with a broken fibula?
No, not broken.
I feel like Godwin probably not even coming back. But that's my own take.
Yeah. I'm kind of with MFB on that one. I think it's like he re-aggravated something or re-agitated something.
Which is also why I really avoided Godwin to begin with this whole season. Because I wasn't confident he would come back from the injury.
If you just saw the injury last year, his foot was like twisted, like, bro. It was a terrible injury. I was like, yeah, bro, he not coming back from that one. Anyways, yeah, these guys. How do you guys rank them? Do you prefer any? Are you dart throwing the Bucks receivers? Or are you taking Leggett?
I would for sure roll a Bucks receiver other than or before Leggett. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Sterling, Leggett, Tez. That's how I see it.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the RBs. At the top, Kyle Manungai, who is the backup to DeAndre Swift.
I'm a who?
Kyle Manungai.
I
don't believe he has any real value unless something were to happen to DeAndre Swift. But we saw them work him in, the Bears, and he did get into the end zone. He had himself a decent fantasy day, to be honest. So he's definitely worth a stash. He's not startable unless something happens to DeAndre Swift, or unless the coach comes out and says something like, "Oh, we're going to do a split backfield." Even in that case, I don't know if he's 100% startable, but definitely worth a pickup. Next on the list, Brashard Smith, who's the rookie running back out of Kansas City. I think he was a 7th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. He, I believe, got his carries in garbage time since they were already blowing out the Raiders, but he's involved in the passing game. So that may be valuable down the road. And if they decide to integrate him more, if he somehow jumps over Kareem Hunt, which you never know with rookies, and they give him a chance, he may be a stash as well. Last but not least, we have Devin Neal. BBTB, can you talk to us about your Saints running back here?
Well, Devin Neal, the menace himself, you know what I'm saying? Kendrick Miller, he's out for the season. ACL, he's gone. So it's Kamara's season. But Kamara's not looking like top tier. So you got Devin Neal there, the guy. I think he's a rookie, right?
He is.
He's a rookie. So just what you said. They give the rookie a chance. He could pop off. Worth the stash.
Also a 6th rounder. I don't know if they have a lot of confidence in him. Do you think the Saints make any moves? Bring someone up? Sign someone in the practice squad? Nope. Nothing?
Nope. They're tanking.
No. They don't want to get Demas Otto?
No.
Whose limp dead body behind the shed of the Cardinals practice facility? They don't want to go pick him up? No?
No.
Yeah, so Devin Neal is kind of a stash because, Kendrick Miller, like he said, torn ACL, out for the season. And Kendrick Miller was backing up Alvin Kamara, who I think, so I saw a post. Man, I got to save these posts. I keep thinking I see these posts, but I don't know if you guys saw them. There's a post that said that Kamara said if he got traded, that he's just going to retire. Like he's not playing.
I did see that, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, if he were to get traded, obviously Devin Neal would take over as the number 1. But also Kamara probably isn't going to go anywhere because he's like, I'm not going to play if I go somewhere else. So other teams know that they're not going to want him. That's it for running backs. I kind of have. I would put Manungai number 1. Oh, man. I'd probably just put them in the same order. Manungai, rostered 7%, Brashard Smith, and Devin Neal last. How do you guys feel?
I don't even I don't even got to order.
I'd for sure would hit Manungai probably over the rest.
Yeah. The other two are dart throws. Don't spend fab on these guys. Manungai, you can spend some fab, 5-10% of your fab, small amount, nothing crazy. But yeah, that's it for running backs. Let's move on to tight ends at the very top. We talked about this guy, number 1 tight end finish this week. MB, please pronounce his name.
Oronde Gadsden.
Yes, sir. Roster in 4% of leagues, rookie tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers, if you don't know who that is. And we mentioned a stat about him in our Studs and Duds episode. Go listen to that so you can hear the stat on him. But he's only rostered in 4% of leagues, so widely available. Colston Loveland, rostered in 22% of leagues. Cole Kmet suffered a back injury this week, so if he's going to miss some time, Loveland will for sure see a bump. So he's definitely worth an add. Even if you're not going to play him, just add him. Rookies tend to break out later in the season, and they've had their bye week, so he doesn't have any more bye weeks. And they do have a pretty good tight end schedule coming up. Nothing crazy, but you never know. It's always good to stash rookies. You just never know when they're going to pop off, like we saw our friend Rondo Gadsden for the Chargers. Obviously, Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Caleb Williams, so I would prefer Gadsden over Loveland, but Loveland, there's a lot of hype about him coming into the season. Last but not least, K-Don, rostered in 31% of leagues. We talked about Mike Evans going out, so they need someone to fill in and
the big pickup
the ball. So make sure, if he's available in your leagues, I would for sure pick up K-Don. I'm not going to lie. I kind of have these guys in this order, like of who I want. I kind of actually want Colston Loveland first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, Dalton Schultz? He's not. Nico Collins.
Could step up potentially with Nico Collins. Yeah. So if we add him into the mix, he's rostered in 20% of leagues, so not heavily rostered. He does have a tough tight end matchup schedule upcoming, but yeah, if Nico Collins, at least if he were to miss this next week, he may have some value because they need someone to catch the ball since CJ Stroud is trash. But yeah, he's also a name on the list. But of those 4 guys, I like Colston Loveland just because rookie. I think unless you don't have a tight end, you need someone to play next week. For sure, I would take Cade Otton. If you just need someone. But then Loveland and Gadsden both. The more I think about it, the more I like Gadsden more than Colston Loveland. But either way, both those guys I like.
I think I'd probably also like Oronde more. Loveland's not a bad, dice roll though.
Yeah.
He could increase usage week to week.
That's what I would expect from that offense, but who knows? You never know with the Bears. And then Schultz, we mentioned he could step up with Nico Collins. That's it for tight ends. Anyone have any? BBTB, how would you rank these guys? How do you like them?
K-Don at the 1, Schultz at 2, Loveland 3, and tight end homie from the Chargers 4.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. MFV, how'd you rank the tight ends pickup?
I'm gonna say Oronde. I'll say Oronde and then Cade Otton, and then Colston and then Schultz.
Okay.
Because I think Nico's just a concussion right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I put Schultz on the bottom too, but I like Colston / Gadsden tied and then Otton. Unless you need a tight end start next week, then take Otton. He's more guaranteed than those other 2 guys. But so all 3 of us have different varying opinions. So that means that these guys are all pretty valuable, to each of us in their own ways. that's it for tight ends. Let's just go through some kicker options, some defense options, and then we'll close it out. Evan McPherson, the Cincinnati Bengals kicker, 47% rostered. I think they played the Jets, which is a good matchup for them. And with Flacco slanging it, moving them down the field, they'll have opportunities to kick the ball. And then the Vikings kicker, Will Reichard, who I actually don't remember the matchup, but I can find out in 3 seconds. They're playing against Miami. Wait, sorry, the Chargers, not Miami. Take that back. Playing against the Chargers, they likely will get stopped outside the end zone, so they'll have opportunities to kick the ball. So both decent options. I think we were 50-50 on last week's kicker pickups. Yeah, we had Jake Moody versus Saints, who did good, and then Blake Grupe, who got 1 fantasy point. FYI, for those of you, when you're looking at kickers to pick up, some of these kickers, we're looking at the matchups when we make these decisions for you guys. Please, 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 before you pick up a kicker and start them, look at the weather conditions for the game. If there's high winds, do not play the kicker in that game, because there were high winds in that Saints game. And that makes it just harder, like more dicey to roll that out. Jake Moody did pretty good, I think, on the Bears side of things, but my guess is that because he lives or he's at the Bears facility, they have more opportunity to try kicks with the wind. So anyways, I would avoid playing kicker in bad weather conditions. So check for that before you start a kicker. Moving on to anything about kickers, guys? No? Cool. Sounds good. Anyways, moving on to defenses. Atlanta plays Miami, and we saw how bad Miami could be this last week. Atlanta is a good defense. Mm-hmm. So overall, and they just got smoked by the Niners. So I would expect them to bounce back against a reeling Miami offense. 9% rostered, so they should be widely available. Mm-hmm. Colts versus Tennessee, 49% rostered. We've seen Cam Ward and what he can and cannot do. He can't do anything. He can throw a lot of turnovers. He can turn the ball over, I should say. So, yeah, if Colts are out there, 50-50 chance they're out and available, pick them up, start them this week against Tennessee. It's a good matchup for them. And you hope that they end up getting in the end zone, honestly. Could win you your week. That does it for defenses. Any other defenses that we're interested in? Any other matchups? Low roster? Maybe?
It's tough. There's a lot of bye weeks.
It is tough, and there are a lot of bye weeks, yeah. So would you use your waiver claim on defense this week?
Atlanta.
Would you use a waiver claim, though?
Depending on your
never use a waiver claim on defense.
Honestly, the only reason why, if that could be the make or break for, like, guys, we're in the middle of the season. Like, if you're close, right? If you're in the middle of the pack, and that's going to help you with that win, I don't know.
Depends on
I'm using it.
If you're less than halfway down the list on the waiver claim, like if you're past, like, let's say you're a 12-man league, if you're position 7 in the waivers or less, then yeah, I would just use it. If you're up there above that, then not save your waiver claim. But that'll do it for the defensive streaming options. Hit us up in the Discord, guys. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We can answer them to the best of our knowledge. We did just implement a new ticketing system where you can create tickets, and you can actually create tickets specifically to any of us, me, MFB, or BBTB. And what happens is that you can ask about a trade, and we will respond to you within the ticket individually. So let's say you have a trade that involves you and BBTB. You're not going to ask all three of us, hey guys, what do you think about this trade? If BBTB is involved in the trade, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, he's going to be like, no, it's a great trade, right? So that's why you can create separate tickets and reach out to MFB. Hey, MFB, what do you think of this trade? And then same thing, you reach out to me. Hey, what do you think of this trade? And then we'll give you guys the best of our knowledge, whether or not we think it's a good trade, or the positives of one side and the negatives of that side, and vice versa. And use the Discord, guys. Reach out to us, and we'll try and help you out as much as we can. But that'll do it for this episode. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.